Sophia, we're just going to let you take it away.
Awesome. Thank you very much. So I'm Sofia, and I'm currently here in my bedroom in Stockholm, Sweden, with a very bright light shining at me because it's 6 o'clock here and it's pitch black outside. So I need a bit of a light in my face so you can see me. What I'm going to be talking about today is bagging a job in a cool tech startup. But to be honest, the advice and the tips I'm going to be giving applies to applying for any job, whether it's a cool tech startup or not. The reason I'm doing that is because I'm a freelance tech recruiter, currently working for a company called Tokaboka. We create apps for kids, but I tend to work within the kind of tech startup scene. But I'm pretty sure these advice can be for any business really. And as mentioned, I actually have the feed up so I can see any comments, any questions or things you have as I go along. And I quite enjoy being asked questions and being interrupted, so to speak. So feel free to just blurt any questions out that you might have. So how do you go about getting that job, no matter what advice would be to be visible? And what do I mean by the being visible? Is that going up and showing up everywhere? Well, in the virtual situation we are right now, then yeah, pretty much. Make sure that you are out there, let's say on LinkedIn or wherever other type of forums it might be that's relevant to the business that you're in or the business that you're looking to get into. And actually, I just sat down at a table earlier before the session started and had a chat with the people on there. And there was a girl there, she's in here now. She just mentioned that she's actually looking for something. And that is a perfect example of how to be visible. There's nothing shameful, nothing bad about looking for work. Letting people know that you are looking is really important because a lot of jobs are advertised, a lot of jobs are referrals. There's other ways of getting a job than simply just applying. And sometimes you might even be found by somebody on a site like LinkedIn. Recruiters do go looking for people. So unless you're there, unless you are visible and letting people know your availability, then nobody's going to know. But it's also
Sophia?
not just, yes.
I'm so sorry, I want to pop in. Did you, we're not seeing your slides anymore.
Can't you not? Can you see it now?
No.
Hang on, let me do this. Can you see my slide now? I'm going to share it again. It popped out. Let me go have a look. There we go. Now you can see it.
Now it's coming. Now we got it. Yep.
There we go.
Perfect.
Back at it. Thanks for letting me know. But it's being visible, like I said, digitally, but also networking. And that could be right now. That's also digital, but it could be at events going. I mean, when we could, I used to go to as many kind of recruitment networking events as possible here in Stockholm, just to kind of let people know who I am, where I am, because I'm a freelancer. I obviously need those connections. I might not be looking for a job as such, but I'm looking for connections to help me find that next gig, that next freelance position. So it's just making people aware of who you are, what your knowledge is, and what you're looking for. And recently, I came across a really good example of that. There's a guy called Alex over on LinkedIn, and I'll make sure that you get a link to this. He started a hashtag on LinkedIn called 60 Days of Job Hunting, where he publicly shared his experience of looking for a job in the 60 days that he had. And the reason he chose the 60 days, he said, was that's how much money he has. With after 60 days, that's going to run out. And those 60 days were up the other day. But going back and looking at the hashtag, he shares his experience of looking for jobs and finding those interviews and the experience of the whole kind of recruitment experience. And I think that's an excellent example of how you can be visible, letting people know what you're looking for and the fact that you are looking. And that's an awesome example that I think you should all look into and have a look at. And with that, he's also sort of showcasing his skills. And I'll come back to that a little bit more. But one other way of being visible as well is obviously your CV. That's what you tend to use when applying for a job. And no matter what people tell you, CVs still matter. Yes, there's a lot of recruiters out there and lots of businesses looking into potentially having like a bias-free recruitment process where you don't have CVs, you simply answer like a selection of questions and doing assignments. But the fact of the matter is that a lot of people, a lot of companies and recruiters are still using CV as the main method for selection. So no matter what anyone tells you and no matter where you're at, your CV still matters. And what's important when it comes to a CV, I'm not going to go through the details of what a CV should look like and what should be on there. But I think the key point with a CV is that you should tailor it to the position you're looking to apply for. So it isn't just one generic CV that you send for all of the open roles that you're interested in. It's also making sure that your CV highlights the point that the company are mentioning in the ad. If they're looking for somebody with experience of a certain technology, like in my case, then make sure that that is clear on your CV, that you have that experience of that said technology. Because the way I think most recruiters look at CVs is fairly quickly. I think there's the rumor about the 6-second rule, and people say that's not true or not. And you know, people say it's not true. Some people say it is true. I'm not going to argue, but we do look at a CV pretty quickly, not necessarily to make the decision yes or no, but more to kind of look, is this a CV that's interesting to me? So we're going to scan it through quickly to kind of go, no, or this is something I want to read further. So if those points that I'll be looking for, be it a set of technology, be it experience in a certain industry, if that's not clear, then I'm not going to find it. And I think I actually had a conversation once with a professional CV writer, and I think she gave some good advice. She said that you should be able to put your eyes anywhere on the CV and it should make sense. So it shouldn't read as a long text that you have to read from the beginning to end to make sense of and to understand. But I should just be able to put my eyes on somewhere and understand what it says and what you've done in the context of it without having to read from top to bottom. And I think that's so, in a sense, I have to be able, as a recruiter, to read your CV without actually having to read it top to bottom. So reading it without reading it. Don't know if that actually makes sense to anyone, but that's that's where that's my advice. A readable CV that you don't have to read. And flattery works a long way. Recruiters, we're just humans that are looking at your CV. And if your CV is that kind of generic profile that you haven't tailored or mention anything, why are you applying for this job? Why do you want it? We want to see that you're interested in us as a company. We want to know why you're applying and kind of flattering. Oh, I really like the product you're creating. I really like what you're doing in this area, or, the influence that you have here. Flattery will take you quite a long while. Not a long while. Will take you quite a long way in the process to actually be looked at, because that knows that you're interested in us as a company, that you aren't just looking for a job, any job. But I know the situation and I know the feeling that sometimes you are in that situation. They are just simply looking for a job, any job that you can find. But you still need to be a bit more tailor-making and flattering the company and making at least, one thing. Why is this job interesting to you? So that we kind of see that you are applying for this job because you want the job, not because you're in a desperate situation. Whether that's the case or not, we need to know that you want the job you're applying for. But at the same time, flattery, that will get you quite a long way. Being needy won't. And what do I mean being needy? Is when you apply for all jobs out there. Let's say you're interested in working for Tokaboka and you want to get in. But that doesn't mean you should apply for any job that Tokaboka posts. Because in our systems, we can generally see that you've applied. And if you're applying for 5 different roles that are all extremely different, it's going to come across as if you don't actually know what you want. If you're applying for a job in marketing and somewhere in development and also in HR, I'm going to be like, what do you actually want to do? But if you apply for 5 different roles all within HR, that makes sense. Then I know that's where you want to be at. So it's a question of, it's that balance between the flattery and looking after and going after a specific company that you're interested in, balancing that with coming across as too needy. I hope that makes sense to everyone. So apply for specific jobs. And that's something that this Alex guy who did the 60 days of job hunting hashtag over on LinkedIn, one of his discoveries was that in the beginning, when he felt the desperation kind of, I need a job, he just applied for any job he felt was a fun job, a job that he would want to do. Whether he had the skills or not, he didn't care. And then he realized, no, I'm going to take a bit more time, be a bit more selective, and the jobs I apply for, applying for the jobs where I do have the skills and a job I feel I want to do. And when he took that time of being a little bit more selective in his applications, he actually got better results. Because you can tell when somebody is just applying for the sake of applying and when somebody actually wants the job. The other day at Toka, I had somebody apply for a job and they actually used the Toka Boca brand colors in their CV. And that kind of impressed me for the fact that I know it's just a tiny detail, but that just gave me the knowledge, it gave me the insight to know they're actually interested in us as a company. This is not a CV that they've sent to any job out there, because they're not going to use the Toka Boca brand colors applying for any job out there. That was a CV tailor-made and sent to us specifically. And again, it's that flattery, it's that showing that you're interested and not the needy side of applying for any job out there. So my summary so far is, so be visible, make sure people know that you're looking and what you're looking for. Flattery will get you quite far. It will at least get your foot in the door. It will get you to that first phone call or that first interview if you're really sure you're interested in the company. But make sure to not come across as that desperate applying for any job at a company. And the fourth one is a bonus that wasn't in the previous slides, is be honest. And this is more in kind of the interview situation. I've noticed in sometimes in interview situations, when you ask a question, you know, what people have done and the skills, it's almost as if people are trying to give you the answer they think you want to hear. And sometimes when we ask, do you have experience using this technology or something, it's not a fail if you say no. It might just us want to know so that for the future, if you do come in working for us, that we know that you might need extra support in that area. So be honest about your skills and your knowledge, what you're good at, what you're not good at. That will get you further as well, rather than just trying to please the recruiters and the hiring managers and giving them the answers you think they want. So be honest with your knowledge and what you can do. And now let's go and see if there are any questions. I think the feed might have stopped for me. But are there any questions from anybody? Let me see. There are some.
Yeah, Sophia, there was one.
Jennifer's asking a question. Yeah. So startup workforces tend to skew on the younger side. What advice do you have for those over 40 interested in working at a startup for the first time? Should we downplay our age? I would say no. But I think you need to tailor the CV, lifting kind of what knowledge do you have that they're looking for that would be good. So again, tailoring the CV to the job that you're applying for. And I don't think it's about the ages. Maybe what it could be is they think that the people who are older, I mean, I feel like I'm older nowadays, you know, is probably that they think, oh, they don't have that kind of agile mindset. They don't have that innovative side. So show that in your CV, show your innovative side, show that you're going after new knowledge, show that. So it's more of showing that mindset of what people would attach to a younger person. It's more that they're looking for than actually age. So if you highlight that, I think you'll be fine. Yeah, readable CV that we don't need to read. Yeah, it shouldn't just be a text that I go from top to bottom. It's not the case. And here another question then. Do you find that most tech startups have recruiters that read application materials? Are you seeing some bots? Okay, this is the questions that come out everywhere. Bots don't review applications. That's a myth that's out there. The recruiters tend to read, I want to say they read all applications, which might not necessarily be true in a sense that, yes, we have a system, the mythical ATS, that stands for Applicant Tracking System, which is simply a system that helps us keep track of all applications so that we can be better at giving feedback, quicker feedback, knowing where people are in the process. That's what it is. It's a tool to help us be better at our job. But what we can do in these systems is, for example, I'm working in Sweden. We might be relocating for certain positions, but for certain positions, we're not going to be relocating. So I might write in the ad, we're not relocating anyone for this position. And then I might ask what we call a knockout question in the application process, where I'll go, will you need help with relocation? And if anyone answers yes, they will be automatically rejected, because that's like a hard thing. I've said in the ad, we're not going to be relocating. So basically saying, if you need help with relocation, don't apply. And for those who apply anyway, yeah, they might be automatically rejected. But that's not a bot. That's something that I have set up to help me. And that means then they will get a message saying, sorry, but we won't be relocating anyone for this position. And that means I don't have to look at that CV. But that's not a bot. That's a system set up that I, as a human, have created. So the myth or the bot, I like that question. So how can someone demonstrate the flexibility, stress management, etc., needed in a startup? What have you done? Talk about what you've done. Talk about the flexibility. What have you done in the past that you can highlight where you have demonstrated flexibility? It's just showing what you've done in the past and highlighting those aspects. I was supposed to talk with a startup tonight. They're offering rather low salary max for a rather large job. They say there will be equity because they have great investors. This is something that's hard to count on. It is, yeah. And personally, I don't necessarily like that. I think you should get paid to do a job. And I mean, if you get in for equity, it's got to be something that you're truly passionate about, a product that you really feel will take off, where you feel, whether you're not necessarily investing money, but you're investing your time. And in one essence, time is money. I don't like that expression, but it is true to us. I mean, we're not going to give away our time for free. So unless it's something that you're truly passionate about, Michelle, I would probably give that kind of setup a miss. Interesting clarification about the bots. Thank you. Okay, laying structure for a cover letter. I'm not necessarily the best person to talk about cover letters, because I'm one of these recruiters who jumped on the bandwagon where we think cover letters are a bad way of assessing people. Because if I ask just 100 people to provide me with a cover letter, I'm going to get, not only am I going to get 100 cover letters, I'm also going to get 100 interpretation of what a cover letter is. Some people are going to talk about the family situation. Some people are going to clear and making it tailored in terms of work. Some people are going to highlight maybe that flexibility that we talked about that startups might be after. So I much rather, for me as a recruiter, if there's something I want to know about you, I want to ask that specific question. Maybe in the application stage, if there's something I want to know about you, I want that. And I think if you're going to ask for a cover letter, I would rather somebody go, I want a cover letter and I want you to tell me this, that, and that in the cover letter so that I can judge them. But if you don't do that, I don't think you should ask for a cover letter. Unfortunately, there are a lot of recruiters out there still asking for a cover letter. And if they are asking for one, I would try and look at the ad and say, what are they looking for? And tailor that and kind of highlight the experience that you have that goes together. And again, adding a little bit of that flattery. Now, why are you going after this job? I really like your product. It's amazing what you're doing. I want to be on your journey of this. Showing that you know a little bit and showing that you're actually interested in the company. It's a bit like, dating, just going, I just want to date anyone. I need a husband, any husband. Or am I looking for something more specific? Why do I like the person that I'm asking for a date? I'm not just going to go, I'm asking you for a date because you could be my husband. I'm asking for a date because there's something about you that I like. And I think that's what you should be highlighting then in the cover letter. Another question from the Q&A panel. Creative email outreachers say that sources do find special talent needs to be put to work when you're looking to find a job. Hang on. I'm not quite sure. Jennifer, what's that? QA, was that something you took from the Q&A bit?
Yeah, that actually, as I read it, I was like, well, wasn't a question as much as maybe a comment that came. It was in the Q&A panel.
I'm looking at the QA now. Are you talking about you could potentially turn that your way, doing the creative outreaches, looking for a job rather than being the recruiter looking for a person? I'm guessing that's what you're
I'm wondering if that's what the question, yeah.
And that can be done. Reaching out, looking where I'm at now, I'm the sole recruiter. I have ads out there, and then I have a backlog of jobs I know we're going to be looking for. And sometimes I was looking for a social media specialist back before Christmas. And within that came somebody applied that had a background as a copywriter. And I knew we had a copywriter position coming up. So when I spoke to her on the phone, I went are you looking for a role as social media specialist, or are you more interested in copywriting? She was a bit hesitant to give an answer. And I'm like, because I'm asking because we do have a copywriter role coming up. And then, I'm looking for a copywriter role. So if you do reach out to people, there will be jobs that aren't out yet that you might be a fit for. And again, it's that flattery, reaching out to that company going, I'm interested in your product. I'm interested in what you're doing. I'd like to be on your journey. I think I can add something. Do you have anything? I want to keep in touch. That's never a bad thing. But again, not the way of going, hi, I like your company. I want any job at your company. I can do anything. Just give me a job. That's the needy side. But if you're coming across going, I really think my skills within A, B, and C would fit with your organization from what I read that you're doing this, that's a good outreach. But not to just go, I like your company, give me a job. Not the needy side.
I think that, so I also put in another, I think it was from the same person in the Q&A, that's a little more clarification. I put it in the feed, and I think you just answered that. So perfect.
Yeah. Any other questions, thoughts, anything? If not, I'm happy with, here you go. You can find me various places here. I'm the only one, I think, in the world with my name. So if you come across me anywhere, it's me. So that's what kind of my handle on any type of social media. And that's my website and my training, recruitment training website as well, for anyone who wants to have a look and just reach out and let me know what you're thinking. Okay, in terms of reaching out to company, yeah, that was the one. I pretty much said that, I think.
Yeah. So I know we've got another couple of sessions that are starting up in about 5 minutes. So Sophia, this was really great information. I think just the essence that I took away was you really just need to be honest and be authentic about who you are and what you bring to the table. So
yeah, and being picky, not just going for any job. And I think sometimes in Sweden, the way unemployment benefits work, which I think is a bad way, is that you have to apply for X amount of jobs to keep getting your unemployment benefit. And I think that creates that behavior of just going after any job because you have to with the quantity in order to keep your unemployment benefits. Whereas I would much rather have people going for quality in their job applications.
Yeah. Agreed. Well, thank you so much. We're going to go ahead and end here, but we really appreciate you taking the time to join us today.
I get to go have dinner now, so that's good.
Yeah, enjoy.
All right, thank you.
Thank you. Bye.